And this right here looks really, really good. It's kind of like shiny or something. I don't know why that is the case, but artistically speaking, man, like this is incredibly well made stuff, man. Like this looks really, really good. Like this is very, very good work. This is what SH Figuarts should be. You know, this is what they should be. Just like take the source material and make plastic versions of that. It's really that simple. It's not some complicated thing of like, oh, we're always improving, and still making generic nonsense like almost 20 years later. SH Figuarts started in 2009. And almost 20 years later, they're still making generic nonsense, dude. Like, seriously, what are you improving to? How are you always improving, but always just making generic nonsense? I don't get it. I don't get it. Almost 20 years later, dude. Almost 20 years later. And Bandai is still making subpar generic garbage. I don't get it. But I did make a post about it. I mean, it's honestly, it might, what I said in the post might be accurate. Like they might be basically, they might have a mentality where it's like they're always going to make the figure slightly better in a sense, but never make it perfect. So that you're always hoping for that next Goku, hoping that the next one is perfect. Hopefully the next one is perfect. Hopefully the next one is perfect. And they never actually make something perfect. And that way they kind of deceive you into buying Goku after Goku after Goku after Goku after Goku for decades, because you're always hoping that the next one is better than the last one you got. But you never actually get that perfect Goku ever. You see that? It's kind of like, I think that is a very likely and possible business mentality they have, where it's like, we're not going to make a perfect Goku so that we can basically have people buying slightly better things for decades and never actually giving them that perfect figure that we should be making, you see? So yeah, I don't like Bandai at all. Anyone that's followed me for some time knows that I absolutely despise Bandai. I think Bandai is probably like, they're probably like my most hated company in the world, honestly. I think I hate Bandai more than like any other company. Ringside Collectibles is definitely up there as far as wrestling figures go. I don't like McFarlane either, but I don't really collect. I don't buy their Mortal Kombat figures at all, so I don't really follow them that much. So I don't like McFarlane either, but they're like, you know, they're not as high up as far as my hatred goes. So I think Bandai's number one as far as companies that I hate. Then Ringside Collectibles is probably number two. I think KW Studio is probably up there a bit. And what else is there? KW Studio and SSW, the ones making the like Goku Headsculpts, Super Saiyan 3 Goku Headsculpts for like $90 or something. Like, I don't like that company either, just because of the greed aspect. Like, that's really it for me. And KW Studio making this generic garbage and charging ridiculous prices for it. Like, no. So usually when I hate a company, it's because of my perceiving the greed of the company, you know, like just this horrible, just basically ripping people off, scamming people, that kind of stuff. So Bandai is just like one of the biggest scammers in the like figure world in general. So I just despise Bandai, just cannot stand Bandai. But unfortunately, as I've said before, Bandai is the only company in the world making officially licensed articulated Dragon Ball figures that I know of. I don't know of anything else. I know they're like, what are those things called? Funko Pops, but who cares about Funko Pops? I don't care about Funko Pops. I care about articulated figures. So, like, Bandai is the only option if you want official Dragon Ball figures. And because they're the only official option, third-party studios or whatever, you know, they imitate Bandai. They basically follow Bandai's example. You see, Bandai's like the leader, and they're kind of, you know, imitating Bandai. So unfortunately, that's what we're stuck with as Dragon Ball figure collectors. We're stuck in a world that is basically dominated by Bandai's influence, right? If we had some other companies making, you know, articulated Dragon Ball figures like, say, Jada Toys or Storm Arena or something, then Bandai would potentially have competition that would force them to put in more effort, to offer better prices and stuff. But as long as they have this monopoly over official Dragon Ball figures, they'll probably continue to be a greedy, horrible company, you know, that just sees you as a wallet, ultimately. You know, that's really the sad situation that we're in here. So moving on, that looks really good though. Like, honestly, like, this is great stuff, man. Like, this is great stuff. As I've said before, like, yes, I roast most stuff, I think most figures I roast in some way, as far as like third-party stuff and all that, even Bandai and stuff. Like, I usually roast things, but sometimes, man, sometimes you see a product that actually just does what these studios should be doing, right? KW Studio shouldn't be making that generic garbage, okay? DF shouldn't be making the generic trash they make as well as far as the face sculpts go. Enough of that garbage. I want to see all studios doing stuff like this. This is what would be worthy of a name like Figuarts, okay? You're going to call it Figuarts, make art. So very good job by Black Shark here. I love this. I don't have any plan to get this because I think there are only like 3 expressions or something. Like, it's just like a kind of, you know, gimmicky, like based on one manga cover thing. I don't really care about that as far as collecting it. But if Black Shark were to make like a Goku, base form Goku head sculpt set with like, you know, neutral, yelling, teeth gritted, all that kind of stuff, like that kind of variety, then I might be very interested in that. But as far as this goes, not really, you know, interested in personally. But this looks really good, man. Just really good stuff, man. Very, very good.